happening since the beginning of time. It's the process of moving from one region to another.
11.3 million people are crossing the national border. Some people say that immigrants, and especially undocumented immigrants, are detrimental and destructive to the United States.
And others believe that immigrants are helping our country as a whole.
When immigrants move, it's normally in hopes of finding a better life in whichever place they go to. Are immigrants making a positive impact on the U.S., or are they just bringing us down? To learn more, I came to the Arab American Museum to talk to Rashida Tlaib, former state representative. Let's go! The Latinos in Detroit, do you think that they're Latinos that they created more crime?
Absolutely not. I mean, so we have in Southwest Detroit 20 different ethnicities, and I would estimate, over 45% of the community is Latino. And yeah, that's a stereotype that crime must be high because it's a huge Latino community. But you hear people saying the same thing about other people's communities of color. And what you see in Southwest Detroit is vibrant businesses. Crime hasn't increased. It actually has helped not only economically, but really make the community thrive and the neighborhood thrive. And so I think it's actually the complete opposite.
And the number of unauthorized immigrants more than tripled from 3.5 million to 11.2 million. During the same period, FBI data indicated that the violent crime rate declined from 48%.
When you hear immigrants disagreeing and saying, I don't understand, look what America does, and da-da-da-da, then you think to yourself, well, why are you here if you disagree so much? But that's why they're here, is that they can disagree and they can be vocal, because in the country, freedom of speech is not always available, and
they'll get punished for it.
Absolutely.
Some people are on food stamps when they really don't need it, taking money from the government. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think that's a stereotype. One, a lot of immigrants can't qualify for those services. If you look at the statistics, an overwhelming majority of people that are in assistance is to get assistance for their children, and many of them are not on forever. It's just a head start. But again, immigrants, especially legal permanent residents, they only can have it for a certain period of time, and they don't qualify for a lot of the programs. So that's a stereotype.
An unwillingness to work is not the reason immigrant welfare is high. The vast majority, 95% of all immigrant households with children, had at least one worker, but their low education levels mean that more than half of these working immigrant households with children still access the welfare system.
There seems to be people targeting many different nationalities like Latinos and Muslims. Even those are only people, just like me and you, trying to find what's best. But what have they gone through to get here, and why do they want to come to the U.S. so badly? I'm at the house of Nabil Zabib, an immigrant who came when he was only 13 years old. We're just going to ask him a couple questions about how it was like for him to come at such a young age. Let's go check it out.
I immediately remembered when I was in school and the American embassy blew up 1 mile away from me. And I remember the terrifying feeling, and immediately we had to run home. Like, you'd be in recess, and then, okay, go get your stuff.
In April 18, 1983, the United States Embassy bombing was a suicide bombing in Beirut, Lebanon that killed 63 people, mostly embassy and CIA staff members, several soldiers, and 1 Marine. 17 of these people were Americans. It was the deadliest attack on the U.S. diplomatic mission up to that time.
I love this country from the get-go, and holy cow, did this country give me so many wonderful things. Every single, I owe who I am right now to that country. Now I do know, like, I come from a family with genetics, and like I do know that my family was a very good family. They're an ethical family, and that's also part of who I am. But that means nothing if you live in a country where you don't have the right opportunity. I do have cousins who stayed back, and they're amazing right now. They're bankers, doctors. They've done some amazing things with their life. But I don't know what would happen to me. I don't know if I would have stayed alive if I stayed there. I had a lot of uncles and cousins that died, and so you're playing Russian roulette with your life if you stay in a third world country.
Get up in a plane and go to America. And we said, why? He said, it's a better life. You guys all get educated. it's much better than Lebanon. Lebanon, it's a very good country, but it's not peaceful. So many opportunities open to them in this country. That's what makes everybody easier for them to get to what they want, and they're happy. America's happy. Their kids are happy. It's all they need.
Many immigrants come because they need to save their families and be able to afford food. Others come to live the American dream. Poor people in developing countries spend 60 to 80% of their income just on food. 4 out of 5 people in Sahara Africa heat their homes and cook food using open fires. Compare that to the 322 million people who own phones in the US. With all this poverty, why are people against immigrants and trying to stop them from coming?
Is built on immigrants. If you are not pro-immigration, I think you're not American. Right now, I believe there's some issues that we have in our immigration policies where there are a lot of loopholes which allow people to come into the United States without proper clearance, without proper vetting. Am I in favor of immigration? Yes, but it has to be legal, proper, and well-vetted immigration.
We are standing at one of the busiest borders between the United States and Canada. In fact, this is the exact border where slaves used to cross from America to Canada to escape oppression. That was not the proudest time in our US history, and we do not want to repeat that again.
But we have to do what's right for everybody in this country. My dad used to tell me that too much of something is bad for you, even if it's medicine. We have to find a way to regulate immigration so that we're not completely stopping it, but we're not letting everybody in our borders. Besides, this is the United States, home to us and our American ancestors.